Namaste friends and welcome to a new start, a new series covering all the chapters for term 2 class 12 NCERT history for board exams and for whatever exam you might want to study it for, right? We are going to make the series very fun, covering all the most boring chapters in the most fun way possible with memes and colorful graphics, pictures and easy to understand slides. Okay? So let's start today's chapter being chapter 9, the Mughal court reconstructing histories through chronicles. So basically in this chapter we'll be studying about the Mughal emperors through the books known as chronicles which were written by them, right? Okay, let's begin. To start with, I just want you to think, what exactly is the meaning of this word Mughal? Where does this word come from? Well, the kings whom we today call as Mughals preferred to call themselves as Timurids. That is because they were descendants of the Turkish ruler Temur, okay, from their father's side. Okay, so Babur would call himself a Timurid and not a Mughal. Okay, he would look like this if you would call him a Mughal, because the word Mughal actually came in when the Europeans came. Okay, so all the history which we study today is actually from a European point of view. So the Europeans called them the Mongols. Why? Because actually these kings were the descendants of Mongol kings. We would have read about them in 11th standard from their mother's side. But Babur, he did not like this. Okay, he called the Mongols barbaric tribes. What did he call the Mongols? Barbaric tribes. And he said that no, I am a Timurid, not a Mongol. But the Europeans said, we are just going to call you all Mughals because you are Mongol. So Mughal, you see, over a period of time, Mongols turned into Mughals, right? Let us see who were these Mughals. To start with, the first king in 1526 to 1530 is Zahiruddin Babur. So before 1526, where was Babur? He was at Fergana Valley, which would be somewhere here in the map, okay? In the country, today's country of Uzbekistan, okay? So he was at Fergana Valley. That was his home ground, okay? That is where he comes from. That's his hometown, okay? He was driven from Central Asia by Uzbeks. So it's in Central Asia, Uzbekistan. He was driven here. Basically, there were one more new kings known as Uzbeks here in Central Asia. And they were very, very angry kings, okay, and they were very aggressive. They pushed Babur they captured this Fergana Valley from him, and so Babur had to look somewhere else. And where did he look? He looked into India. He fought the first battle of Panipat, okay, first battle of Panipat. This is not mentioned, but just as a small addition to your knowledge, okay, first battle of Panipat he fought in 1526 with Ibrahim Lodi and captured this Panipat, Lahore and Kabul region, okay, establishes himself at Kabul, and 1526 he also captures Delhi. From 1526 to 1530 he fights consecutive battles, one after another. Every year he is fighting a battle and expanding his empire into Agra, into Chanderi, into Khanwa, and in 1530 he dies fighting in a battle. Then he is followed by his son. Who could it be? Nasiruddin Humayun. Okay, Humayun means the fortunate one, but turned out he was not very fortunate at all. But before that, let's see his empire. So you could see from here to here there's a lot of change. He has added the Bengal region into his empire. He has also captured a bit of this region here near the Hindu Kush region, right? So first thing he did, he expanded his empire, and then what happened? He lost to Sher Shah Suri. Who is this guy? He is another king, okay? It's not like Mughals were the only kings here in India, right? At the time there were other kings as well. So there was another king called as Sher Shah Suri who has defeated him, and he was sent to take refuge in Iran. Where is Iran? This is Pakistan, Afghanistan, and after Afghanistan comes Iran, right? So he was sent to Iran to take refuge in the court of the Safavid rulers. So here the ruler's name was, there were Safavid rulers here, right? So he stayed here with them, prepared his army for 10 years, and then finally recaptured his empire from Sher Shah Suri in 1555. Okay, he recaptured, and the very next year what happened, he got very lucky and he fell down a staircase and he died. So after Humayun comes the considered to be the greatest Mughal, that is Jalaluddin Akbar. Okay, you all must have heard of him from your history books, right? So let's see what he has done. Why is he considered to be one of the greatest? So first thing is, he made his empire, the Mughal empire, the richest empire of the time. Okay, the richest. You could see I would draw some money here. Okay, so he's supposed to be the richest empire of the time, also very very powerful. Okay, very very powerful empire at the time. Okay, also what he has done, he has conquered a lot of land. You could see from the last time we have added a lot of area here, that is the Hindu Kush region. Okay, actually Hindu Kush is a mountain range. Okay, here in Afghanistan there is a mountain range here. Okay, it's known as the Hindu Kush mountains, so this is known as the Hindu Kush region. Fine. So he captured a lot of area near the Hindu Kush region. Also he captured this area. This is Malwa, right? This is known as the Malwa plateau. This is Gujarat region he has captured, right? And he has consolidated. What is the word? It's consolidated. Okay, consolidated. What is the meaning of this? Consolidated means suppressing all the revolts. Okay, making it very very stable. So right, there are many kings around here and they will all revolt, like they would want to make their own empire, come out of the control of Akbar, right? So what he has done, he has pushed them down and controlled them and made his empire very very stable. That is, the word is, he has consolidated the kingdom. Okay, he captured Malwa, checked on Uzbeks and Safavids. So you remember there was a very angry and aggressive kings known as Uzbeks here, and there were Safavids of Iran where Humayun took refuge. They were looking to conquer India, but what did Akbar do? He checked on them. That is, he did not conquer them, but he did not let them come into India either. Okay, so he would check on that as well. And he introduced several administrative and land reforms. Okay, he would also be known for his tolerant policy. Okay, he was tolerant to a lot of religions in India. He was not like a hardline Islamist ruler with like someone like Aurangzeb. Okay, he was very tolerant to all the religions in India, and he introduced many land reforms. Fine, yeah, okay. So following him were three more rulers, namely Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. The NCERT does not mention much about them, so it's just important to know their names. Fine. They have also done a lot. Just as an addition to your knowledge, you could know that Jahangir, what he did, he also consolidated the empire. Okay, suppressed a lot of rebellions. What Shah Jahan would do, he would construct a lot of monuments, right? You remember Taj Mahal, constructed by Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb, he is known for his Deccan conquest. Deccan conquest. Okay, what is the Deccan conquest? He basically captured all this area in the Deccan. So after all these kings, you would see the Mughal empire would be looking something like this. If you could see behind her, there's a nice Taj Mahal, a very grand monument, represents the power of the Mughals, the wealth of the empire, right? And you could see the empire, how big it looks. Okay, covering almost all of India, almost all of Pakistan, right? So it's a very big empire there. Okay, so being very practical, let us now see some previous year questions. So this question was asked for 3 marks. You could see, many consider Jalaluddin Akbar as the greatest of all Mughal emperors. Support the statement with evidences. I think we just covered this answer. This was asked in 2010. You can read this answer here. Okay, it's the same thing which we have just covered. What are some errors which students have made here? Many students explain about his religious tolerance and patronage for architecture as the reason behind his greatness. Okay, so students just mention about his, many times students, they don't think about his conquest policies, like his conquests he has made in Malwa region, the Gujarat region, right? His consolidation of the empire, the land reforms, all they think is he was a very tolerant ruler, so he is the greatest ruler. That's not it. You have to explain the other points as well. You could read this answer once and you will get all the points, right? What are some other possible questions which can be asked in the exam? Who were the Mughals? How did they get their name, right? Very basic question we have covered at the start. What did they prefer to call themselves? We know this as well. describe in detail the developments made by the successive Mughal emperors, right? So I think we know this as well. We have covered the entire timeline. If you would explain that in a point-wise manner, you could easily score full marks in such questions as well. Okay. So with that, congratulations. You have covered the first part of this chapter with ease. I am sure you did not get very bored at all. It was easy. I hope it was easy to understand. If not, let me know in the comments. If it was easy to understand, still let me know in the comments, and do share with your friends so that they can benefit from this as well. Okay. With that, I will leave you all for this one and see you until the next one. Bye bye.